And we are going today. It is May 29th, 2020. Definitely the Experts, episode 69. Sam, it's Connor. What's up, my dude?
Not a whole lot, Sam. Another week in quarantine. Yeah, not a whole lot going on here. Just it was a weird week in the world, and we kind of talked about that before this, and I don't think we'll necessarily go into the nitty gritty of it. But
that's a joke for the chat. Y'all can't. Y'all aren't. That's for us.
Yeah, there was riots in Minneapolis this week, or protests, I should say. So anyway, that's just more for me to bookmark this episode, which, by the way, is a momentous number, episode 69.
Nice.
We've made it all the way here, folks. Thanks to everybody that followed us all the way here.
All the way to the top. Yeah, look, can we get some nice going in the chat?
Hell yeah, bro.
Comment nice. Comment the nicest thing that you've heard on the show through the first 69 episodes.
Hell yeah.
69th subscriber gets a free Definitely the Experts t-shirt with podcast spelled wrong on it, available on our Teespring store. Check it out now. Promo code DTE for $0 off.
Yes. So I think I want to start this episode off with, there was a trade. It was a dynasty trade in the fantasy football subreddit, and so I'm gonna just put this. It was so people put like trades in like poll form in the subreddit, and like people vote on like which thing is better. Like a person will go, somebody offer me this for this. What do you guys think?
Okay.
So the trade here is Christian McCaffrey, or on the other side, DeAndre Swift, Denzel Mims, Michael Gallup, Deontay Johnson, and a 2021 first-round pick.
Jesus, and this is Dynasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd take that trade.
You would?
I'd do it.
Really?
I'd do it. Read me those names again.
DeAndre Swift, Denzel Mims, Michael Gallup, Deontay Johnson, and a 2021 first-round pick. It doesn't say where the first-round pick is, but, man, you're picking from a crop of rookies.
Yeah, Well, what am I giving up? Because I have to cut some people then to make that trade work, with the roster size work, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's assuming that's what would happen.
Yeah, well, I guess it depends what you have to cut on the back end of that to make it happen, but yeah, I'd do that deal.
Really?
I'd do it.
I wouldn't in a million years, probably, even if I was trying to rebuild a team.
Yeah, you love you some Christian McCaffrey.
Well, I love Christian McCaffrey, and he's without a doubt, I don't know why this fucking dude picked Saquon Barkley. He's without a doubt the 1-1 pick. But aside from Christian McCaffrey, like just completely ignoring him on this side of the deal, like all these dudes in the trade offer, it's like, what? Like DeAndre Swift will probably be the starting running back for the Detroit Lions, but it's probably going to be a timeshare with Kerryon Johnson. I mean, I don't see Kerryon Johnson completely going away, and I mean, we saw the numerous backs they've used with Matt Patricia there. He's going to have a role in some capacity. I mean, I don't think that it'll just be, workhorse Kerryon that he kind of was before. And what I'm saying there is I don't think that DeAndre Swift is going to assume that workhorse role. I think it's going to be a much tighter split than I think a lot of people are giving him credit for. I really think that Kerryon Johnson still has some value. I don't think he's going to be, a surefire RB2 even, but he was still good before he got injured. he just got injured and he's injury prone, and you got to take another running back because their shelf life is like a couple years. So I'm not totally sold on DeAndre Swift, and he's probably the most valuable person in this whole trade package. Denzel Mims, I mean, we were about him in the draft, and we wanted the Packers to take him, and
yeah, I mean, I knew he was going to be a bust the whole time, so I don't really put. I mean, he's probably the least valuable piece in there. No, I'm kidding. No, I love me some Denzel Mims. Just bummed the Packers didn't take him, but yeah,
he's playing for the Jets now.
Oh yeah, yuck. Yeah, never mind. Keep Christian McCaffrey.
Michael Gallup, he's in a crowded wide receiver core now with CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper. Blake Jarwin is emerging as a receiving option. Ezekiel Elliott is still there. I don't know if Michael Gallup is going to get a lot of attention there just because Mike McCarthy's running the offense now and kind of saw what he did. He wants to run the ball. Deontay Johnson is an interesting package piece. He seems to be coming into the wide receiver 2 role in Pittsburgh. Could certainly be a much better piece if Ben Roethlisberger is good this year. Some say that he might even usurp the wide receiver 1 role from Juju Smith-Schuster if the Steelers decide to part ways with him, which it's been reported that they might. And then there's a pick there. I don't know.
Boy, that pick really sounds a lot better than it probably actually is, huh?
Well, you're getting... I mean, it's going to be a rookie, so it's, you
just like
get...
in real life.
Right.
But that gives you 2 first-round picks then. Okay, I don't know. You talked me out of it.
Yeah. That was it. And so, anyway, on this post, so I thought it was pretty one-sided, but this dude, this Master Alpha Cerebral commented, a very underrated perspective here. What does CMC's playbook and usage look like without Cam Newton? It's one thing to be the man when part of a greater whole, but when opportunities turn into responsibility, it changes the way opposing teams can respond. A full offseason to game plan for CMC as the half option is different than game plan that must account for the presence and ceiling of Cam Newton. Not saying CMC is anything but a stud, just saying don't rule out long stretches of many adjustment periods that can only happen during professional competition.
Yeah.
To which I said, we had a 14-game sample size to see what CMC could do without Cam Newton, and he was pretty good.
Oh, good point. How many upvotes did you get for that?
I got one.
Oh, man. I got an upvote on... I joined Reddit last week, and I got an upvote on some shit I was talking about.
Nice.
I don't remember what it was. Oh, I have 3. How many karmas do you have?
Let me see.
I got 3.
I've got 130.
Oh. Man. Yeah, I don't know. That's a great point by you. Credit to you, my man. Oh, I know what I commented on. I commented on the Kyle Peniston thing on the Badgers subreddit.
Damn it.
Because the Badgers landed somebody posted something about some tight end committing.
Oh, yeah, they landed that 4-star guy.
Yeah, great. I was like, well, hopefully we can live up to the Kyle Peniston standard.
Yes.
That got me an upvote or something.
Hell yeah. Somebody like that. So anyway, yeah, I went back and forth with this guy for a while because this dude just didn't really get it. He kept saying that well, let me see here. That the Panthers aren't going to turn him loose this next season, which is true. I don't think he's going to... His fantasy season probably isn't... He peaked for sure last season. It's not going to be as high, but, I mean, he's still going to get a ton of receiving work out of the backfield. He's still obviously a super talented back. There's absolutely no competition for him in the backfield because there's Reggie Bonifon and Jordan Scarlett.
Yeah.
What?
Well, yeah, that's a great point. The market, the percentage of carries he's going to get or snaps he's going to get is high, and then his value as a receiver, he's probably the best receiver on the team.
Yes. So, I mean, he let's see here. He said he was hurt all season.
Oh.
And I said, why are we even bringing this up? Because he played every single game.
Man, you got this guy backpedaling.
Well, he didn't back. He just kept saying, he's like, I didn't say he was injured. I said he was hurt. There's a difference.
Hurt or injured.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so I was like, this is all semantics, because, like, it's not even a valid point to bring up, because he played every single fucking game. He didn't have an injury designation at all. So he was like, well, it's really not semantics, because there is difference.
What, so you're saying he's going to be better then? Because he's going to be healthy this year?
I have no idea what this guy is saying.
That would be the logic I would use. It's like, well, look at what he did. Okay, so he was injured, so he's going to be healthy, so he's going to be better then, right?
Yeah, you'd think.
So your point that he's bad is wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. I just didn't get what this guy was saying, that he was going to regress. It's like, yeah, I don't know. He probably will regress a little bit back to the mean, because he had a historical fantasy season, but it was, the things he was working with, you look at the parts of the offense, and it's like he had Kyle Allen under center. He had DJ Moore out there, and Curtis Samuel, and Jarius Wright. Like, yeah, I don't know. They're probably going to throw to some other people because they got some dudes. Like, they signed Robbie Anderson. They're probably going to throw to him.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I don't know. Probably won't have as many receptions, but, like, I mean, I don't know. Like, the teams were stacking the box against him the whole season because they knew that's all they had, because it's like Kyle Allen sucks. So, I mean, and he still did what he did. I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying to see where this thing ended.
Yeah, we're talking dynasty, and we're right now in the midst of a very heated, very contentious dynasty draft with 8 hours between each pick. So we're gonna pick two, and if this thing goes the full 8 hours for everybody's pick, it's gonna be done end of July. So stay tuned. We're gonna have a lot of updates. But you want to get into this now? We got some to break down some of the best value, fantasy value for dynasty leagues here in 2020.
Yeah. So for those of you, I think we might have explained this before, but dynasty, it's a little bit different than regular redraft leagues. So we talked about our redraft league last year that we had with like Tundra Line people, and that was pretty much like every season, like everything basically resets, and you draft from the pool of players, like everybody that's available. So in a dynasty league, it's kind of moving towards like more of what like football actually is, where teams every year they post, the NFL draft, and they get to pick from all the rookies that are coming in from college football. And that's kind of what dynasty fantasy football is, in the sense that you draft a team initially, and then every subsequent year you pretty much retain that same team, and then you draft from the pool of rookies. And so there's a couple of things that go into this that make it a little bit more, I mean, I don't want to say it's more intense than regular fantasy football, but you certainly need to pay attention more to it and think more about like the longevity of your team. Like, you can't necessarily draft like AJ Green super high because he's 31 and he's had a lot of injuries. You need to kind of be looking towards like the youthful side of the draft and thinking, who's the next budding star, or who's going to be, a stud this year, or even maybe looking towards people that are, possibly leaving their team, looking towards guys that, maybe aren't necessarily in a good position right now, but will maybe be in a good position like next year. So, I mean, a lot of people are looking at like Jameis Winston, who's right now a backup for the New Orleans Saints, but if he, for whatever reason, comes into the starting role, by Drew Brees retiring, whatever, he'd automatically be like a top-tier quarterback in terms of value. Maybe not necessarily performance, but he'd have a lot of fantasy value. So that's kind of what Dynasty is. And so, yeah, we joined a Dynasty League here, and we're going to see how it goes. It's a 12-team PPR league. Yeah, like Sam said, it's an 8-hour fucking clock, because why? I don't know. Going to be doing this draft for months.
A lot of time to think.
Yeah, ton of time to think. So with that, we're just pulling up a Fantasy Pros article on best dynasty value on all 32 teams. And frankly, I've been listening to their podcast this last week pretty frequently, just seeing like where they're ranking people to try to. It was the first fantasy football stuff I've really listened to since, last year when it all ended. So it was kind of cool to get back into it and to see what these guys had to think about it, and especially with like Dynasty. This is kind of the first time I'm treading into Dynasty football, so getting to see what their perspective is on Dynasty stuff, it's kind of interesting. So with that,
yeah, I have a general strategy in mind, but I don't know how this will go.
Well, especially with the Superflex thing here, I think the Superflex is interesting because that prioritizes like picking 2 quarterbacks pretty early on.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if Patrick Mahomes is still on the board.
At 111?
I don't know. Maybe you're at 2-2 on the flip side.
Maybe I'll take him at 1-7.
Please. Do it. See, the more dumb things that happen before me, the better, the less chance to screw something up really bad I have on the back end. Since I'm picking at the tail end of the first round.
Yeah. I don't know. There are a couple of dudes that I'm definitely trying to target here after listening to the couple podcast episodes, but for the most part, it's like,
pray do tell.
Well, yeah, I can share a couple of dudes here. Let me pull up this chart here.
Let me guess. Courtland Sutton.
No, staying away from him.
Really?
Yeah.
I suppose they added a bunch of talent in the offseason to the Denver team, and
it's that plus the. He got a ton of work last year, but it came almost solely on the back of like opportunity. Like, there's nobody else in that receiving core, but at the heart and soul of Vic Fangio, I think he wants to run the ball, which is why he added Melvin Gordon. So, you got to imagine Melvin Gordon, Philip Lindsay getting some work out of the backfield.
Yeah, well, counterpoint, he's young.
Yeah. He's still good. He could still be good, but I think his, like, ADP right now is, like, it's pretty high. Because he was good last year.
Yeah, I think so.
So there's a couple of dudes here. So I'm at 1-7 here. So yeah, let me just go through here. 1-7. So 1-7. If I'm lucky, if Dalvin Cook drops to me, I'm taking him for sure. He's a solid mid-round piece if he falls to me there. If not, I think I'd probably go, like, I'd probably try to snag Devontae Adams there. Try to get him, just because there's a big question mark with the Green Bay receiving core. But there was some good stats they were feeding on the pod where they were talking about there's I think he's in the echelon of receivers in terms of like opportunity percentage, where I think he's like among only like 4 receivers to get like I don't want to say 100 targets. That seems like a really arbitrary number that I just made up. But there was something with, like, even though he missed 4 games last year, he was still, like, top 4 in, like, number of targets. And that translated to, like, 1,000-some yards or whatever. And they, like, took that back, rolled it back to, like, these other seasons where he's been a top-tier wide receiver. And it's like his opportunity is so much more than people like DeAndre Hopkins even, who was just a stud on the Texans for a number of years. He was up there with Odell Beckham Jr., like all these guys, and it's all the signs are sort of pointing to more of the same there with the Packers receiving core, so wouldn't mind targeting him. He's sitting at, I think, 8 overall here on this board. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind snagging one of those dudes there. And then moving down here, I'm also looking at Jonathan Taylor. If he's there in the second round, I might snag him.
That's an interesting one. It's surprising you're looking at the average draft position. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, top rookie, which...
I'm assuming he's going to be gone by the time my second round pick comes up.
Yeah, that's one. He's late average draft position at 22 in sleeper here. That's one I'm looking at because I got the 11th pick and the 12th or 14th pick. He's probably still going to be on the board there, but
he's going right around the turn there. Yeah, if you don't take him on the turn, yeah, for sure isn't going to be there the next time it comes around.
Which, I mean, he's really got everything you're looking for. He's young. He's in that Chief, and he's in the Chiefs' offense. I guess that's really it. But
yeah,
boy, that might be something I might go there. I guess in the 11, 12 range, looking at guys like Chris Godwin, Joe Mixon, Mike Evans, Nick Chubb, kind of right in that range. Josh Jacobs, DJ Moore, Juju Smith-Schuster.
I don't like Juju at all there.
I'm not loving that. Juju long term I don't think projects real well with the Ben Roethlisberger situation. With him being as old as he is and no clear answer long term at quarterback.
Who else did you say there?
Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans would be good. I like him a lot. He's one of my guys. Chris Godwin's probably going to be off the board. Joe Mixon in Cincinnati, that wouldn't be bad.
Joe Mixon would be a great pick that far back.
Yeah.
I think
that'd be really good.
I think that'd be, yeah. I mean, if he's still available there, I don't know if he will be, but if he's still available at 111, I think that's an excellent pick.
Yeah, you got a Cincinnati team that's can't be much worse. Boy, I think you traded me Mixon at the end of the season last year, and I got him towards the end, and he started producing as soon as you traded him.
I know. It's just that.
But
that's how that all went.
Yeah, another young guy on an up-and-coming team, I guess. I don't know. Sure, yeah, that'd be a good one. Nick Chubb. Boy, Nick Chubb would be good, too.
I'm worried about Nick Chubb, man. I don't know. He was a stud before Kareem Hunt came back, and as soon as Kareem Hunt came back, he was like, I think he was RB4 before Kareem Hunt was returning from suspension, and then he dropped to like RB12. And for, ample reason, Kareem Hunt obviously was a stud when he was a starter. And so, they were saying, like, Nick Chubb is not going to get any receiving work out of the backfield. It's all going to be Kareem Hunt because he's a much more polished receiver.
All right. Nick Chubb off my big board.
I don't know.
That's good. Josh Jacobs at 16. He's the next running back on the board after that.
He's a workhorse. I wouldn't mind getting him. He's one of the few dudes that has a monopoly on that backfield.
Yeah.
If he gets receiving work, he's even better, which is something that a ton of people complained about because he was a stud receiver at Alabama, and people expected the Raiders to use him as that, but they didn't, which is annoying. But if he starts getting receiving work, all of a sudden he's looking at top 3 running back potential, easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's cool. That's very cool.
Another dude I'm looking at here, if he's still available, he's the wide receiver 15 on this expert consensus rankings, is Calvin Ridley.
Yeah, Calvin Ridley's interesting. I had him as a rookie 2 years ago. Wasn't as predictable last season, but he's a player, man.
Well, you look at their depth chart now. So Julio's obviously still the man, still doing his thing, being a fucking top wide receiver of all time. But who else is there now? Mohamed Sanu left. Russell Gage is there, and then they replaced Austin Hooper with Hayden Hurst. So, I think his opportunity is, it's either going to stay the same as it was last year, or it looks like it's going to increase. And if anything happens at all to Julio, immediately Calvin Ridley is a wide receiver 1. And he's young. He's 24, I think.
Yes, he is. Oh boy, here's an interesting. I'm just looking at another rookie name jumping off. At 56, Jalen Reagor.
Yeah, you like that one?
Boy, that film room episode about him, just getting basically Deshaun Jackson 2.0, plugging him into the Eagles offense.
So
tough to not like that.
Yeah, I think that speed is something that the Eagles clearly require in their offense. We saw that last year, so if he doesn't get work this year, I think he'll definitely get work next year. Speaking of that pick, the Deshaun Jackson, I think Deshaun Jackson is like wide receiver 100 some right now. The Fantasy Pros guys really like him in this draft.
Really like him at the end there, huh?
Taking him, obviously, you can take him pretty late, but
right.
It's, they were like, you can get this guy for pennies, and he's going to produce. He's going to be in the lineup. I'm kind of sold on it. Wide receiver, let's see here. Let's go down the list. Who's wide receiver 100 here? Wide receiver 100, you're looking at Jacoby Myers, Hakeem Butler, Dante Pettis, Marquez Valdez-Scantling is in this area. Mohamed Sanu. Like that's where we're at.
Well, yeah, of all those guys, yeah, I guess give me Deshaun Jackson. I'm willing to roll the dice on him over any of those other dudes.
100%. Take a flyer on this dude who, if he gets injured, he gets injured. But, that's one of the better flyers I think you can take there at the end of the draft. Looking around
you're
here.
Not in love with Andy Isabella or...
No, I'm not in love with Andy Isabella.
Or JJ Arcega-Whiteside?
No, not at all.
Hunter Renfrow. Maybe.
I don't know. They were just talking about him today, actually, because a guy took him in the Dynasty mock draft, and I don't know. He did stuff last year, but it was kind of a similar argument to Cortland Sutton, where it was he had a ton of opportunity because who else are you gonna throw to? Seth Roberts, Darren Waller, the Walrus. There's just nobody else in the receiving core. Tight end was a stud, but nobody else in the receiving core to really throw to. So he ended up with the bulk of the work there. They obviously drafted Henry Ruggs. Who knows what kind of work he'll get. But yeah, I don't know. He's a maybe. I don't know. He still probably gets some work, but not completely sold on him. Looking down the draft board here. Let's see. Marquise Brown. It's another dude that I'm looking at here. I like the value. He's wide receiver 34 on their expert consensus ranking, number 70 overall. I think he's, the top receiving option other than Mark Andrews in that offense.
Yeah, you're not in love with Miles Boykin?
No, I'm not. I'm not. They took Devin Duvernay in the draft, but big thing about him was that he's a big-bodied dude, but he couldn't win any contested catches. So I think he's going to be competing directly with Miles Boykin to see who's better at that, really. Whoever's better gets the job, but it looks like it might be a tight race. Looking at some other names here. A lot of people are drafting Cam Akers pretty high. Los Angeles Rams.
That's an interesting one.
That's one that I think I'm staying away from.
Huh.
I just don't know how it's going to shake out.
On the surface, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he's RB19 here. Ooh. I don't know. I think that it's possible that that's a timeshare, like a complete timeshare there. Anyway, another dude that they really liked here, they were talking about, let's see here, where is he at?
Oh, Will Dissly.
No, but he's a guy that for sure has been off the radar. And
Well, he was great last season before he got hurt.
Yes, again. And it seems like, it was really funny because it seemed like the Seahawks were just like pumping out like tight end ones from their system there last year. It was him. Jacob Hollister was a solid tight end option down the stretch. I think there was another one there. I'm trying to think. Maybe not. But Greg Olsen is a tight end there now. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know if I don't think he'll cut into a ton of work there. It doesn't really seem like, ancient Greg Olsen would cut into a bunch of work there, but maybe. Another dude I'm looking at here, though, is Will Fuller.
Okay.
He's wide receiver 41 on the expert consensus ranking here.
Oh, wait, and DeAndre Hopkins doesn't play there anymore.
So, yeah, and obviously they signed Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks. Well, so this is kind of unique, not necessarily totally unique to the situation, but if these training programs really don't get off the ground, I think it'll be very interesting to look at situations like this where you get a lot of new dudes coming in, specifically like rookie dudes and guys that are going to new teams. Guys that aren't able to get in any work with their quarterback. I think it's definitely going to be a factor with how this all shakes out, specifically in this receiving core room. Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks kind of play a similar role in the receiving core, and he obviously has a connection already with Deshaun Watson, so it kind of makes all the sense in the world to me that Will Fuller might just be the guy that gets the work there out of those three dudes, it seems to me, at least. So he's going pretty low right now, and I'm eyeing him up. I think that he'd definitely be a solid wide receiver 3 to have on the roster.
Oh yeah. Who are you looking at quarterbacks? That's what I'm looking at right now.
So it all kind of depends. It depends on if, it's kind of the same with tight ends for me. I think with tight ends, if this is kind of an interesting strategy that I heard about where, if you can kind of tell when the waterfall is starting, when dudes are starting to come off and they're it's all the T1 guys or all the dudes in this one certain tier. I think because I'm right in the middle of the pack with this draft, so I can kind of hedge my bets a little bit. I'm not at one end or the other. So if I can sense that a waterfall is starting, I think I can get in on it still without being totally late to the party. And I think that early enough, my early quarterback that I want, I think, is Deshaun Watson. If I'm going to take one early, I don't think I'm going to take a quarterback early enough to land like a Pat Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson. So Deshaun Watson, I think, is going to be my guy to go for if I'm going early quarterback.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now, and at the turn here, I'm like, man, I'm tempted to just go the nuclear option, get Patrick Mahomes at 11, and then at 14 come back and pick Lamar Jackson with the super flex.
Oh boy!
And just go, and then okay, I am set at quarterback for 10 years.
That'd be wild, man. That'd be total anarchy.
But golly, then I'm picking my first non-quarterback at whatever.
Yeah, you totally fuck up the rest of your roster. I probably wouldn't recommend doing that.
What? I don't know.
You don't get a pick at a running back or a. Let's see. Just trying to look here.
Because that would leave me at pick 33, and that's not right. That's not how this works. 12, 24, 36, so 35 and 38. So who are we looking at 35 and 38 range?
Let's see. There's DK Metcalf, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, Kenyon Drake.
Oh, but that's my guy.
He's going to be gone before that. There's no way he's there. I'm going to take him if he's still available at 3-7.
Kenyon Drake.
Man, if I can get Kenyon Drake, man, he's on this Fantasy Pro. So we should talk about this Fantasy Pros article before we just talk about dudes this whole time.
We're just listening to names.
Yeah. So the Fantasy Pros guys put together this best dynasty value on all 32 teams. I thought this would be interesting to talk about just because then we can kind of talk about these teams as a whole. So just going alphabetically, Arizona Cardinals, they have Kenyon Drake here. So, I mean, there isn't a whole lot to say here. David Johnson's gone. He's out of the picture entirely. Kenyon Drake proved that he could be the guy for Arizona last year. He was a credible receiving threat. He played really well, I think, into their air raid offense because of those receiving skills. They ran a ton of 10 personnel last year. So I think that he's definitely going to see the field a ton, and he's going to play in the Cliff Kingsbury system pretty well with what's going on there with Kyler Murray. The new addition of DeAndre Hopkins there, I think that their offense automatically has kicked up into near that, if not entirely in that tier 1. Like they're knocking on the door of being super high octane tier 1 offense for sure. And I mean, you just want parts of offenses like that. You want high up tempo offensive production, a lot of passing work. It's kind of what you're looking for, regardless of if the team as a whole, if they're winning, losing games. I don't think it necessarily matters. Just the system itself, it's what you want to be a part of.
Yeah, if anything, being at an average team like that, or kind of a middle of the pack team like we expect the Cardinals to be, that almost helps, just because they're going to be in games probably later down games in the second half, and then our favorite thing to talk about, game script, is in your favor then if you're trying to play catch up in the second half.
Yes.
Where if it's great having Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, but when they score 35 in the second quarter and the game's over at halftime, but you got what you got from the fantasy point pretty much at that point.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, I don't know, nothing too much else to take away from there. The Atlanta Falcons, they've got Hayden Hurst here. This is a guy actually that I'm targeting for sure. My second tight end. If I get a decent tier 1 tight end early on in the draft, Hayden Hurst is for sure on my to-do list to get somewhere around like round 11, round 10 maybe. Looking at this draft, I have to nab him a little earlier. 11-12 range would be super ideal. Yeah, I mean, he's got all opportunity is the name of the game in fantasy, and Atlanta Falcons love throwing to the tight end. I mean, we saw that last year with Austin Hooper. He was a tight end. He was tight end number 1 until he was injured at the last quarter of the season there. Number 1 tight end overall. That's over George Kittle. That's over Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz, Mark Andrews, all of those guys. Hayden Hurst is walking into an absolute wealth of opportunity there. Like we were talking about earlier, the only other receiving options really are Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, possibly Russell Gage. They are not going to be throwing to the dudes out of the backfield. Todd Gurley might get some receiving work, but he is a giant walking question mark at this point. Their offensive coordinator doesn't even know how healthy he is. So, I think that the Atlanta Falcons, they want to run the ball. I don't think that Todd Gurley is the insurance package that they are looking for, so they're going to end up throwing the ball again. So I like Hayden Hurst there as long as his ADP stays down. He's ADP at pick 135 is his average ADP, tight end 16.
Yeah, he comes with that first round shine. I think the upside on that on him is great. They make the point here that he's stuck behind Mark Andrews in Baltimore. That's an unfortunate circumstance there, but the stretch start in Atlanta with quality quarterback play, and as you obviously mentioned, the productivity out of the tight end spot in the past. A lot to like there from Hayden Hurst as a tier 2 tight end.
Yeah, like that a lot. Moving on here, Baltimore Ravens. They have Justice Hill here. Oh boy.
Yeah, don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either. I don't know. I don't see this one. People were really talking up Justice Hill last year, and he obviously didn't get a lot of work.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Gus Edwards or who's there's like a third. There's another running back. The guy who's the Irish step dancer. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh God.
I want to say Kenneth Dixon, but that's not it.
No, it's not Kenneth Dixon. Alex Collins.
Alex Collins. Yeah, that revolving door of fucking running backs, man.
Well, that before Mark Ingram came in last year, but that shores that up. J.K. Dobbins ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. J.K. Dobbins, I think, has a job. If Mark Ingram goes down, J.K. Dobbins is for sure the more talented option, and I think J.K. Dobbins is the heir apparent. Really, I mean, that's why I drafted him so high.
So yeah, just still definitely a long-term play.
Yeah. Moving on. Buffalo Bills. We have Gabriel Davis. I don't know. I like this other one here. There they said Zach Moss. I like Zach Moss, I think, better. I think that Zach Moss has a lot more value. There's a lot of people that are talking about it, and it's assuming that Zach Moss will, walk into that Frank Gore role that he had on the Bills last year, and he'll play a complementary role to Devin Singletary, so Devin Singletary will still see the bulk of the carries. However, we saw last year, Devin Singletary went down, and Frank Gore he did fine. He was a running back. So I think Zach Moss obviously is a much younger version of that, and he has much more capability if Devin Singletary goes down to assume a closer to workhorse role because he's obviously just coming out of college here. I think he has a lot more talent and not talent, but he has a lot of talent coming out of the draft. He had a poor combine. He was injured. A lot of people thought he was going to go the first a little higher than where he went actually, but so I think if he gets a chance to take over for Devin Singletary, there could be a little bit of a controversy there in terms of who's the dude on the team.
Yeah, I think any time that you're looking at a situation like this where you have an opportunity to get a young rookie guy who's a number 2 When you're fishing around late in the draft, you can get somebody like that. That's probably good value, because you're in the handcuff situation there. If the starter gets hurt at any point, you're in a good spot there from production. Then also you have the long-term upside, having that rookie guy. So yeah, Zach Moss, I think I'd rather go that way as opposed to Gabriel Davis. I just don't know what he is and how he projects in this NFL offense.
Right,
making a big step from UCF up to the NFL.
Yeah,
and
I get what.
And you get somewhat erratic quarterback play with Josh Allen.
Right. I mean, right. That's exactly those points that you made. The Josh Allen, I don't know. They made some good points in here about, the rest of that receiving core. Stephon Diggs obviously is coming there. He's not very. How old is Stephon Diggs? 28?
Yeah, I'm gonna go 29.
Stephon Diggs. He's 26.
Oh.
Holy shit. Anyway, so he's not very old at all. Yeah. But the other two guys that they have there, Cole Beasley and John Brown, 30, 31 respectively, they're obviously not going to be around forever. They have a few more years, possibly get phased out of this offense even, in fact. So I understand the upside with Gabriel Davis, but I'm not sold on it just because of Josh Allen and how that offense kind of operates. I like how the Bills are kind of on the upswing here in terms of performance. It looks like they have a high-performing defense, and their offense is, starting to get there too with the addition of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen kind of coming into his own, but I also watched their playoff game last year, and that was just a fucking mess. I hated that.
That was actually something.
So, I don't know. I guess that's not really the point of this article. The point is just to find value on each team, so it is what it is. Moving on, Carolina. They got Robbie Anderson.
Nope.
Yeah, no. I think so. I'm just gonna speculate into here. It doesn't really say in this little blurb here, but the Fantasy Pros dudes, I kind of agree with them. I think DJ Moore is getting overdrafted just a little bit because he was such a stud last year, and everybody and their mom talked him up, including these fucking dudes. Now he's getting overdrafted a hair. And that's kind of like, all right. I understand there because obviously adding Robbie Anderson, paying him all that money, you have to imagine he's going to get some kind of opportunity. You still have Curtis Samuel, you still have Christian McCaffrey. There's all these dudes who you're looking around at, and only so many mouths to feed. So. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I can understand. Let me see here. It's the wide receiver 3, wide receiver 6. I don't know. His ADP here is 145, wide receiver 65. So from that angle, I can understand, because looking at who wide receiver 65 is, you can go to the board here. So people before him include Corey Davis, Jamison Crowder, Sammy Watkins, Emmanuel Sanders, James Washington, other people here, KJ Hamler, Rashad Perriman, Chase Claypool.
Yeah, give me KJ Hamler. Give me a rookie.
All right, so Sam doesn't like Robbie Anderson.
No,
I think Sam's been burned by Robbie Anderson in the past.
I have, and I see no reason why he's gonna, playing with Teddy Bridgewater now. It's all of a sudden the light's gonna go off, and he's gonna be this elite receiving prospect and receiving production.
He played for Matt Rule at Temple.
Cool. I don't want him. Take him.
I'm not taking him.
Yeah, I know. You listed of those guys. You listed kind of in that same area. Just give me Sammy Watkins ahead. Well, hold on. If a redraft league, give me Sammy Watkins. But, yeah, I know there's some of those other guys I'd just rather go that way. Chase Claypool, KJ Hamler, the two rookies, because at least, I mean, you have the upside that they're rookies in. Who knows? Maybe they'll be really good. I think at this point we kind of know what Robbie Anderson is, and kind of a boomer bust guy, and I've been busted too many times with them, so.
Yeah, I'm with you there. There's definitely dudes on the do not draft list, and people like him, people like O.J. Howard.
Yep.
They brought up O.J. Howard on the pod, and it was like, get out of here with this black magic talk. Like, well, if Rob Gronkowski goes down, he's tight end 1. It's like, no, he's not. We watched this last year. So, anyway, moving on. Chicago, Anthony Miller. I like Anthony Miller a lot.
Yeah, me too, man. I'm a big Anthony Miller guy. I know he didn't do shit this last season, but he was good enough his rookie year. He was really good in college, so I this first line they have in here, there's only one direction for the Bears offense to go. Yeah, can't get much worse, and you got a young high upside guy in Anthony Miller.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
They had a ton of great stats where the rates that they played, and historically, the Bears offense last year was so bad under Mitchell Trubisky, which is great news for people that want to invest in pieces for the next year, because if it's historically bad, that means it probably won't be quite that bad this next year. And so Anthony Miller, yeah, he was coming into his own last year, and especially at this ADP here, wide receiver 58, that's excellent value to get for this dude who is, for sure. Who else is there? Allen Robinson. He's going to get some work. He's a wide receiver 1. But, Ted Ginn is there to replace Taylor Gabriel. Ted Ginn's 1 million years old. We have the crippled corpse of Jimmy Graham. Okay. So, without a doubt, he's going to get some work. Another dude on the Bears that I'm also looking at, he's your boy, Tariq Cohen.
Oh, my guy.
They're predicting that he's going to get a ton more work this year. He's going to be way more efficient than he was last year.
Back to his 2018 self.
Yeah, when they were listing off his 2018 stuff, it was like, Jesus Christ. He was the RB14 or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is nuts for a dude that was
RB50?
Yeah, not good. I don't even know. He was RB40 or something. Something stupid. But
drafted him.
Yeah. So, pretty cool that these dudes are going to be at a bit of a discount here. So I'm definitely looking at Anthony Miller and Tariq Cohen in the draft. Moving on, Cincinnati Bengals, they have AJ Green. And looking at this one, so he's a dude who for sure burned me last year because I just sat on his corpse for a number of weeks. And then they obviously didn't play him at all. But his ADP here, 97, positional ADP, wide receiver 51. The arguments they gave here were pretty interesting, where there hasn't been a wide receiver. He's been a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football more times, even counting I don't want to say it was counting last year. I think it was just number of times played through age 27. I think he was wide receiver 1 more times than Odell Beckham Jr. and DeAndre Hopkins. And so, they were yes, he's 31 now, and he missed all of last year with a mystery injury. So that's bad news. But if you can draft a dude who's going to play for, 2 to 3 more years, and a dude who's been a wide receiver 1 that consistently, taking a flyer on that dude in the 5th round, you could potentially end up with a dude who's wide receiver 1 for revamped Cincinnati Bengals here. And there's a chance that he gets traded to a team still with the offseason still progressing slowly due to coronavirus. And he obviously was franchise tagged. So I see the argument there. I don't know if I'll be targeting him in a draft. I think he's an interesting guy that I think once it gets down to the 5th, 6th round there, I'm going to be looking at him to see if he's available. But I don't know if I'll be going out of my way to really get after him. Like, see, did you know that since 2000, there are just 4 receivers who've posted wide receiver 2 or better numbers in a higher percentage of their games than Green?
Yeah, nope, didn't know that. But yeah, I don't know. The age thing kind of scares me away. I'm gonna try and stay young. But yeah, I mean, I understand the argument for AJ Green, despite him not playing last year. Yeah, so if he's there way, way late, I snatch him in a heartbeat. But 5th, 6th round, I think is going to still be too early for me.
Okay. Is there anybody else in the Bengals you're liking? I'm liking
Joe
Tyler
Burrow.
Boyd.
Alex Erickson.
Cool.
CJ uses Zama.
Yeah? You like CJ Uzama?
No, I don't. No, we talked about Joe Mixon earlier, but yeah, that'd be a guy that if I can get early here, if he's available, that'd be a nice. I think that'd be a good pick. But
Okay.
let's go to Cleveland now.
Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
Yeah, wide receiver 38 here. I mean, oh, sleeper app doesn't do it. Wide receiver 38. Who's wide receiver 38? N'Keal Harry, Mike Williams, Henry Ruggs, T.Y. Hilton. People before him include Justin Jefferson, Jalen Reagor, Marquise Brown, Christian Kirk. Yeah. I'm for sure Jarvis Landry. I mean, we saw last year when the Browns did the thing where there's a good Brett Coleman video where he explained it in much greater detail, but at the end of the day, it was like Freddie Kitchens, he got the job because he transitioned the offense to the short passing game with very quick progressions, and, you know, that's why he got the job, and then he moved away from that. Therefore, Baker struggled, and then he made the exact same change, and Baker was good again. And because of that, because of Jarvis's role as primarily a slot receiver, Jarvis's production correlated very heavily with those offensive changes. And we saw last year when they made that change, he received a ton more work, a ton more production. He was scoring a ton more, obviously. Easily outscoring Odell Beckham. Yeah, he's a dude that is, I mean, it's because of the weird and wonky stuff that happened in Cleveland last year, he's getting drafted pretty low there. And obviously with people like Austin Hooper getting added to the offense and Odell Beckham still being there in the assumed wide receiver 1 role, a lot of people aren't too high on him, but I agree that I think that he's a dude to for sure target in these middle rounds here. I mean, like 4th, 5th round, get Jarvis Landry there. I mean, he's a dude that he's been consistent in production. I mean, he has a fantasy history of being one of the dudes that he's not necessarily going to win you your league, but I mean, he'll give you a solid floor to, you know, lay the foundation of your team on.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. Yeah, that low floor or the high floor rather. There's value in that, especially in this is a PPR league, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So especially
yeah,
with that.
Yeah, because he's a possession receiver. That was what he was known for back in Miami. It was just getting 10 to 15 catches a game. It seemed like almost every week.
Oh, we got a guy off the board here. Christian McCaffrey at 1-2.
Wow. That was the correct pick.
Yes.
We're
Cool.
moving quick here. That pick only took an hour.
I know. It will be to me in no time here. In just a couple days. So moving on, we got Denver.
I might even get to pick this month.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, it's not Denver, Dallas. And they have Tony Pollard here.
Sure. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I understand their argument here. He's getting drafted right now, ADP running back 54, overall 157. He's definitely one of those top-tier handcuffs up there with, like, Alexander Madison.
Yeah. Same logic that we were using for Zach Moss.
Yeah, and he's a much better handcuff. Maybe not necessarily. He's not going to get like the work that Zach Moss is going to get. Like Zach Moss will probably get 8 to 10 touches a game, kind of like how Frank Gore did. But Tony Pollard probably won't get any of that. But I mean, we saw last year if he can perform in absent if Zeke is out of the game. And so if anything happens to Ezekiel Elliott at all, Tony Pollard is immediately an RB1. And so there's, a lot of value in having a dude like that, especially at the back end of the draft. If you're just taking dudes that it's like, I'm going to take a flyer on this guy. I don't think there's a ton of harm, and there's a lot of upside, obviously, in grabbing somebody like Tony Pollard. Just a guy that you can have sit on your bench for a while, and if anything happens to Zeke, you immediately have a dude that you can plug into your lineup, and he's going to be a stud.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Going to Denver. We got Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, I mean, this is an exciting rookie, probably one of the top wide receiver prospects in the league. So, as a rookie, high upside, I don't know. It's kind of a crowded receiving room with him and Cortland Sutton. And like we were talking about this a little bit with Denver. Vic Fangio looking to run the ball quite a bit. So, yeah, over the course of an entire career, though, Jerry Jeudy, I think, is a cannabis prospect as a rookie.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think especially in Dynasty here, there's a ton of value in having somebody like Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, especially getting drafted here as low as wide receiver 21. If you can get Jerry Jeudy at 4th round here, I mean, you're looking at excellent value. Just a dude who's going to be, you're probably going to be able to plug him in even to start, like wide receiver 3, day 1. And right, like you're saying, I think the tandem of him and Cortland Sutton I think we're going to see this year whether or not Drew Lock is the real deal. So obviously, first year we have a lot to still see from that offense. There's a lot of potential, but if the quarterback plays bad, then all bets are off. But I think regardless, because in Dynasty, if they choose to go after another quarterback, just having that tandem there, I think is going to be really nice for the both of them in the long term.
Yeah. Agreed. Detroit.
Quintez Cephas, Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, this is a left field one. I didn't think he was...
These dudes have talked me up on the Quintez Cephas for sure.
I mean, yeah, fine as a end of your last round pick. Sure, take a flyer on him. But I don't
Do you know who Jeff Okuda said was the toughest wide receiver to guard?
I'm gonna guess it was one of the Ohio State receivers in practice. No, it was Quintez Cephas.
It was Quintez Cephas. So this is all interesting because his situation. So this is much more, I think, about opportunity than what Jeff Okuda said. I think it's interesting to hear that he said that because there's obviously a ton of dudes that he played against. He played against a lot of really great wide receivers at Ohio State. But looking at these dudes that he's sharing the wide receiver room with, Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, Kenny Golladay. Like, out of all those dudes, I mean, Kenny Golladay is going to be the guy there for a couple years, but Marvin Jones, Danny Amendola, both of them are over 30.
Yeah, so I guess he's going to be there for a while if he can stick. I don't know if he makes the team, if he can play, but
Right.
I don't know.
Right. Again, it's all about
targeting.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all about value here. He's wide receiver 86.
Yeah.
So, wide receiver 86, we're looking at real quick in here. You see Auden Tate, Kenny Stills, Traquan Smith. Before him, we've got Antonio Gandy Golden, Larry Fitzgerald, Tyler Johnson, Kelvin Harmon. It's the crap we're looking at.
Guy.
Why?
He's good.
He plays for Washington.
Yeah. They got Alex Smith coming back.
I don't know, man. I watched that video of him and his leg.
Well, he said he was coming back.
He's not playing football.
Shouldn't.
Yeah, shouldn't is a better way to phrase that. Anyway, we'll get to Washington. Washington's interesting, but yeah, we'll get to them. Packers. Yeah, they have Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
No.
Yeah, this is all.
Yeah,
I think
sure, fine, but yeah, I don't want him though.
Green Bay is a very interesting situation here because it's almost like lottery scratches. It's like who's going to be wide receiver 2 because whoever is going to get like a ton of work and they're going to get drafted at an absolute bargain bin value between MVS, Alan Lazard, and Devin Funchess. All three of them.
St. Brown.
Yeah, him too.
and don't forget Reggie Beggleton.
Reggie Beggleton, I'm absolutely draft him. I dare you.
Dude, I might in the 15th round.
Fuck, I didn't take him in the other league. I should have.
What if he's good?
Exactly. I mean, well, that's what I'm saying is that whoever you get at that wide receiver 2 spot, man, you're getting him for absolute peanuts, and they are going to get work.
They're going to be on the field, at the very least.
Right. I mean, they have to throw to somebody else. I mean, even last year, I mean, they obviously threw to Devontae Adams on an overwhelming, heaping number of offensive opportunities there. But, I mean, Alan Lazard was the dude. MVS was the dude at the beginning of the season.
And Aaron Jones turned into the dude.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I bet you I'd feel safer taking Lazard at 79.
Oh, we got Michael Thomas off the board at pick number 3. Boy. I don't know about that one.
I like this guy who's just tagging people that are on the clock.
I think that's a much smarter idea for this. I didn't like it. They did this in my other league too, but I like this more for this 8-hour draft window so that we can maybe move this along quicker than what we were saying before, 60 days time.
Michael Thomas. All right.
Anyway, moving on here. We didn't really analyze a lot there, but whoever gets the wide receiver 2 spot wins the lottery. That's the moral of the story there. Houston Texans.
If it's the pick 3, or it's probably not going to be the Powerball, but somewhere between that.
Yeah,
it's money.
It's money. It's cash.
It is legal tender.
We got Houston Texans. Will Fuller here.
Your guy.
My guy. I mean, this is everything that we said before. He's 26 and
oh fuck, Patrick Mahomes went off the board at 4.
Holy shit!
Well, that blows up my strategy.
What? I guess,
but in a good way. It blows up my strategy. It's I'm going to pick better play, get better value, or pick.
Yeah, you're not going to pick Lamar Jackson and Pat Mahomes in back-to-back picks.
I'm not going to go super quarterback.
So anyway, yeah, we already talked about Will Fuller. There's a lot of upside there. ADP wide receiver 49. Next, Indianapolis Colts. We have Paris Campbell here. So this is interesting.
Basically, you're getting a rookie receiver here.
Yeah, he was super injured last year and didn't see a whole lot of time there. But it's assumed he's going to play the slot role. And I mean, Phillip Rivers is a guy who's thrown tight ends, slot dudes a ton over his career. I think that there's an argument to be made for him, especially at wide receiver 59, that the value that you're getting out of a dude like that, I think, is pretty incredible. It'll be interesting to see how it shakes out because they were talking about it, and it's like it's going to be very interesting just because between Paris Campbell, Michael Pittman, T.Y. Hilton, none of these dudes have played with Phillip Rivers. So Phillip Rivers is starting from scratch with all of these dudes. So it really doesn't matter that T.Y. Hilton has been like the guy on the team for a number of years. It's going to be a completely new quarterback, and he's going to attach to whoever he feels comfortable with. So I think there's a lot of people that are actually targeting Michael Pittman in the draft, especially Dynasty, because he's a big-bodied receiver. And Phillip Rivers, I mean, we saw him throw. He was attached to Antonio Gates. He liked Hunter Henry when he was on the field. And obviously with the Chargers, Keenan Allen was his guy. So, I mean, you're looking at dudes that can, I mean, stretch the middle of the field and then that true wide receiver one type dude.
Yeah, the interesting thing here with the Colts, when you go with one of these younger receivers, whether it's Michael Pittman or Paris Campbell, you have Phillip Rivers here and now for at least this season, maybe next year. After that, long term, if you're projecting long term, the quarterback play is very much up in the air beyond 2021, let's say. So,
yes.
A little bit more risk there, but who knows?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I might go after Michael Pittman in the draft if he's still available, but I don't know about Paris Campbell. We'll see. Anyway, we got Jacksonville here. Also in our draft, by the way, Ezekiel Elliott went off the board.
So you are on deck here. We got Legion of Boom, the man on the clock, and you're looking at Dalvin Cook or Alvin Kamara. One of those two will be available for sure.
And I don't want to be saddled with. I think if Dalvin Cook goes off the board, I'm taking either D-Hop or Devontae.
Yeah, I think that would go there too.
Oh, he didn't.
What'd he do?
Got my boy. He took Mike Evans.
What the fuck? Boy, maybe I'll get Devontae or DeAndre Hopkins.
Maybe.
Or both. Who knows?
That was a bit of a surprise. So, yeah, I took Mike Evans. I took Dalvin Cook there. All right, moving on. Jacksonville. We got D.D. Westbrook. Yuck.
I don't know. They got Laviska Shenault as their draft pick. I'd just rather go there.
I'm out on this offense, man. I want no part of it.
The one thing, if they're as bad as everybody as they might be this year, and if Gardner Minshew isn't great, we're looking at a possibility of Jacksonville landing in that number one spot and ended up with what if they end up with Trevor Lawrence? Then that whole receiving core looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, I mean that's that's the argument to be made with some of these wide receivers here, so maybe not with D.D. Westbrook, especially looking at here. He's 26 and he has 1 year remaining on the rookie contract.
Yeah, DJ Chark and Shenault the rookie.
Yes, those guys especially. Looking at possibly if Gardner Minshew doesn't perform this year, looking at a top-tier quarterback prospect, and immediately their value skyrockets. So especially in Dynasty, you're for sure looking at those opportunities. So, I mean, we're going to get to this later, but that's why some of these Washington options are a little bit more lucrative in our league because, I mean, it doesn't really seem like Dwayne Haskins is the truth and the answer in Washington.
Not a whole lot last year led you to believe that, but we'll get to that.
Right, exactly. So, anyway, so D.D. Westbrook, sure, whatever. He's wide receiver 73, so if you need a fucking dude, take him.
He's a guy.
This is interesting. The value pick for Kansas City is Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And he's RB7. He's the value pick.
I'm targeting him off the bat here with one of my 2 picks early.
I would take him with the first round, man, if you can.
Boy, we'll
I think Average Joe is going to take him on the turn.
Man,
you need to scoop him up. He's the running. He's picked in the first round. He's set for 5 years in Kansas City to be the dude.
To be paired with Patrick Mahomes. Yep. Okay, I've made up my mind. Throwing him in the queue.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, there isn't.
Damian Williams is on the team too, but he's not a long-term guy.
I mean, right? Just getting the the value between a dude that can catch the ball, a dude that's a shifty running back. It's clear that the Chiefs, they want to run the ball, but last year they just ran into problems between Damian Williams and LaShawn McCoy, injury problems. I mean, it looks like they found their guy though, and if he is the answer, which I mean they won the fucking Super Bowl, so I don't really know how many holes you have to fill there. But
and this guy won the national title and was like the best player on the team.
Yeah.
All right.
He's also 5'7".
Low center of gravity, low man wins.
Gives hope to us 5'7" dudes out there.
Shout out.
All right, we got the Las Vegas Raiders here. Henry Ruggs.
Fast.
Yeah, fast. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Rookie. He's fast. Plays for the Raiders. Checks all the boxes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess the argument for him that he's stepping into a pretty bare cupboard as far as receivers go last season. So he's going to get playing time. We know that for sure.
Right, he's going to get opportunity, and I mean that's the name of the game, as we've said time after time in just this episode. I think that they were talking about him a lot on some of these shows, and they don't think that he's going to get quite like 100 targets. Like he's not going to be a highly targeted dude, but he is going to be that Deshaun Jackson of the offense, where he might not require that many targets because he's going to be able to stretch the field, get past those dudes in the deep secondary. So
the few he does get are going to be 50 yards downfield.
Right, exactly, and especially they actually, I don't know if you saw this message, but they changed the format here so that 40-yard plus plays get an extra couple points here.
Yep.
So, right, having those dudes, it might be a little bit more valuable to have that, like guys like that. We'll see what he does this year, but especially moving forward, I think he's a valuable dynasty asset to have. Chargers, Keenan Allen. This is interesting because, you have Tyrod Taylor and Justin Herbert assuming the mantle possibly, and
yeah, Keenan Allen's no spring chicken. He's great, but he's a great receiver.
He's for sure an underrated dude who's produced time after time, and I think without a doubt, I'll agree he's underrated, but I hate this situation.
Yeah, no, I don't like it at all. I don't think the short-term and the long-term answer at quarterback there is great, so definitely going to not target him in the draft.
No. Absolutely not. Wide receiver 20, it's interesting.
Yeah, who are some of the guys in that same ADP range?
So, wide receiver 20, we're looking at DJ Chark, Deebo Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Stephon Diggs is before him.
All those guys.
CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Robert Woods. Robert Woods is a guy. I don't know if he's on this list, but he's a guy that I'm targeting.
Yeah, literally all those people I think for dynasty draft purposes I'd put ahead of Keenan Allen.
Okay. Well, we're moving into Los Angeles here, and this might be a good time to talk about Robert Woods, actually. They have Darrell Henderson here. I'm out on the running back room. Fuck that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Absolutely not. We're just not even going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Robert Woods. So, man, Robert Woods, dude. So I think he's with like only 5 wide receivers last year who played on over 95% of offensive snaps. He's like the number 3 dude. And now Brandon Cooks isn't there. So he's only got Cooper Kupp and Josh Reynolds there, and they drafted Van Jefferson out of Florida. Todd Gurley's gone, so they have this mixed bag of bananas at running back that we're talking about. I think they're going to throw the ball like a lot more, and they're going to use Robert Woods is going to be the guy.
Boy, yeah, him or Cooper Kupp. I mean, I think, yeah, like you're saying, the advantage with Robert Woods, he's the greatest asset as a fantasy player is being available, being healthy, which Cooper Kupp struggled with a little bit. But, go either of those guys. I think that's fine. So long as Jared Goff plays better than he did towards, for the most part, last season.
Yeah, well, I think an interesting thing that they talked about is they moved away from 11 personnel and moved towards more 12 personnel. And on 12 personnel formations, they actually took out Cooper Kupp. And they had Josh Reynolds and Robert Woods.
Okay.
So
Plus
here
Woods, Woods.
So I mean his consistency was the big thing that kind of drew people into having him. He wasn't necessarily the Rams offense as a whole was just not very good last year. But Robert Woods was a consistent part of it. So I'm trying to find his ADP here. He's currently wide receiver 18. Going off the board is wide receiver 23. Possibly here. Yeah, man. I'm in on him. Anyway.
All right.
So, yep, that's Los Angeles Rams there. So Miami, I think there's a lot of dudes in Miami that you could probably target here just because this team is one big mystery. But they have Preston Williams here, and
No.
You don't like Preston Williams?
I don't like Preston Williams. I don't think I would love being married to Devontae Parker either.
He was a stud last year.
Yeah, he was a stud last year, finally. Well, I suppose, but he does have Tua now, so maybe. I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm looking at, adding Tua to the picture. And all these dudes, I think their value increases.
What do you think about Patrick Laird?
No. They
Or
have
Mike Gesicki.
Mike Gesicki is an interesting tight end sleeper. I think that it also is very heavily correlated with Tua in that.
Yeah, a lot of this leans on him being able to play right away and be good.
Mike Gesicki was emerging as a receiving option last year. He was a tight end 2, especially in the later stretch of the season, and I think that he can emerge as a viable tight end option here, but Miami's offense was just a fucking mess last year, right? It was just Patrick Laird was the guy for a bit. Like, what? We've gone through like 5 different running backs there because Kalen Balaj was an absolute wreck. Kenyon Drake was traded. One other dude was like fucking arrested. I don't even remember his name. The guy out of Miami, I think. He was arrested for guns or doing something like that. So anyway, now you have Jordan Howard and Matt Breida in the backfield. A little bit more of a, we'll say it's laying the foundation for a running game there. I think that I'm much more confident in the 1-2 punch of Jordan Howard and Matt Breida than I am in the 1-2 punch of Patrick Laird and Kalen Balaj.
I don't know.
So I think yeah, right. It doesn't inspire a ton of confidence there, but having a more locked in piece of that offense, I think, will improve other areas of their offense. But we'll see. Anyway, I think like what we're seeing here, right? What we kind of were getting into this with is, I think a lot of these pieces you'll be able to draft for pretty low prices because there's a ton of uncertainty surrounding it. So I think if you need to take a guy like you're shallow in wide receivers or you're shallow in tight ends, you need a dude that, all right, I have my consistent tight end option, but I need a dude that I am gonna, maybe lay the groundwork for the future in. Mike Gesicki.
Yeah. I guess just to circle back to Devontae Parker, I don't love this take, but I'm just gonna float this out there. He had a productive season with it was also the first season that he had Ryan Fitzpatrick, so maybe it was just Fitzmagic doing his thing, and he's the beneficiary from that. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Okay, I'll write that one down.
Yeah, write that down.
All right. We're pushing an hour and a half here almost, so let's lightning round some of these takes here. Minnesota, Kirk Cousins.
Fine.
Yeah, he's QB 20 here. He's a consistent dude. So if he's getting drafted that low, I have no problem taking Kirk Cousins. He gets a bad rap across the board. He's not a terrible quarterback option. Anyway,
middle back 20, yeah, right in the middle. Fine.
Yeah, I mean, right, exactly. New England, Damian Harris. I don't know about this.
I don't think so. That's a crowded running back room.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some sort of argument to be made there in some capacity with Sony Michel getting injured. But fuck.
Also, Rex Burkhead, also James White are on that team.
Yeah.
A lot of guys.
A lot of dudes. Yeah, and Damian Harris saw absolutely no playing time.
Tyreek Hill's off the board in our league. So
Oh,
I'm gonna have a good pick here in 2 picks.
oh boy. You're gonna have a shot at, Devontae Adams maybe for sure. Oh boy, who do you take here?
Well, I'm going CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm gonna take him right away, and then on the turn we'll get something good.
Maybe Joe Mixon, man. Get your running back squared away.
Yeah, I mean, there's essentially I'm trading down here. I want to get the guy that I'm in love with, and then I'll pick up the scraps here when on the turn.
Scraps,
which there's plenty to choose from here.
Oh my goodness!
Unless you want to trade up, I'll trade down.
Oh boy!
Give me your second and your third for my.
For your first?
No, for my second.
Oh, no.
All right, my first then. But you can't take Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I can't take him?
No. I forbid you.
Oh, fuck, man. I might do it. How do I do this? How do I even trade?
Propose a trade.
Propose trades.
And I'll give you my whatever my last round pick is, just to balance it out.
What about your 5th round pick?
No.
Your 6th?
No.
Your 7th?
No.
How about your 9th?
The deal is my first round pick for your second and third. And it has to be a double-digit pick. I'll give you 13.
And it has to be a double-digit pick?
13.
You'll give me what?
12.
What do you mean? What?
I'll give you my first and my 12th for your second and third.
Your first and your 10th.
11.
Your first and your 9th.
First and 14th.
Oh,
right,
shit.
Second, fine. Second and 14th.
Second and 11th.
Deal.
Oh, your second. Wait, not your second round pick.
Yeah. No. I said deal, man.
Fuck.
it's 3 picks later.
Fuck. All right, let me crunch some numbers here real quick.
Yeah, check the draft value chart.
This isn't totally accurate because
12-team draft value charts. Better hope this guy doesn't pick quick. You want me to sit on the clock for 8 hours? All right. Let's see here. Pick number. I'm going to give you pick number 11 and 120, let's say. What do you have? You have
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. Pick number 18. Pick 31, is that? 3, 7.
6. So you have 6.
2, 6, and 3, 7.
So what is it? 18 and what? 30 something?
It's like I think it's 18 and 31.
All right. Well, let's see what that is. Calculate. Wait. You should make this trade. Percentage improvement 34. So. Okay, I win the trade. So yeah, let's do it.
I think I'm out.
What? Okay. What if I drop this down? I want to make this a little more lucrative. Pick 100. Fine. 1st and 10th.
First and 8th.
9. 1st and 9th.
I don't know. Not a lot of value at 9 there. For my 2 and 3.
Yeah, okay, 9th. That's 3 picks after 8th. Oh wait, no, never mind. That's backwards.
What?
I can hear you wanting to make a deal here.
Yeah. I mean, I'm taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire with that pick.
No, you're not.
That's what I'm trading right now.
Nope, then there's no deal. Okay, what are you making? Are you talking right now with the guy that's on the clock right now ahead of me? You're gonna leapfrog me and get Clyde.
I think if it were not the initial draft, I'd be more keen on making this deal because there's quite a bit hanging on my 2nd and 3rd round pick right now.
Well, yeah, but you could get a pick right now and have none later.
I could, and let me see who's
what if we did second and
the fourth
fourth?
round here.
Yeah, what if we did 2? What if I would give you can keep your 3rd. Give me your 4th then.
2 and 4?
Yeah, 2 and 4 for my 1 and 9.
1 and 8.
No, that's on the wrong end of the turn. Oh, actually, yeah, okay, 8, whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll give you my 8th.
1 and 8 for 2 and 4?
Yes.
You've got a deal.
But you can't take Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I'll see who's there.
No! Oh my god, you fucking take him.
Sends, acquires 2, 4.
4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What's 8 times 12?
I don't know.
92? Oh, Devontae Adams off the board.
96.
Okay, 96 for your 13, 14, 17, 18. Yep. 18. 36. 41, 42, 43. I think that's 41.
What are you crunching right now?
The numbers. Yeah, that's pretty much an even trade at this point. Did you propose a trade?
Yep.
Where do I go?
Possibly the main page, not the draft page, I don't think.
Scoring. Main page, main page. Trades. Drafting. Invites. What the fuck? Where is it? Oh shit.
Maybe are you on your app or the desktop?
Yeah, I'm on the app.
You look in the app here.
Oh, transactions. Here we go. So you are giving me your second and your fourth for a first and an eighth. I accept.
Trade is now pending.
Trade will take effect on Monday.
What?
Well, hopefully the commission will approve.
Well, you got 8 hours here, so. Wouldn't that be best? Like, we went through all this, like, negotiating, and the commissioner just goes, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that would be fine. I guess I'll just draft in the first round.
Yeah, just
What is this guy?
as
What is this
normal.
guy complaining about on here? Somebody removed me from the group on Facebook.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. We
Can
got
I
a
tag
Facebook
him?
group?
Let me graduation cap react to that. Okay, well, while we wait for that, where were we?
Yeah, so we were at
Rapid
New Orleans.
fire. We're wrapping it up here.
Yeah, New Orleans, it's Latavius Murray. This to me just seems like it's a handcuff situation again. He's a high-end handcuff. So if anything happens to Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray is the guy that steps in. And we saw it last year. I mean, he stepped in and he was an RB1.
Yeah, I don't know.
High tier RB2, if not that.
Yeah, only downside it's a short term deal. He's a veteran guy. Doesn't have a whole lot of upside and longevity.
Right. Really just right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yup. New York Giants. Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, this one's interesting. I don't know. I'm not totally sold on the Giants and Daniel Jones, but with this argument here and what they're saying here is that, I mean, he saw a bunch of targets last year. He's just a target monster. And I think that's, I mean, we've seen it the last couple seasons he's played. He does get a huge share of market share of the targets there on the offense, despite the fact that they have people like, I mean, in the past, Odell Beckham Jr., right now you have Golden Tate and Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley. Despite all of those dudes, he still gets targets. So I think that wide receiver 55 here. I don't know. Maybe. I understand the upside there. I think that the argument being made here is that Darius Slayton's getting way overdrafted and Sterling Shepard is dropping. And so Sterling Shepard is the value pick.
Yeah, that's fine. Young guy. I don't know. Sure.
Right.
Up and coming team, maybe.
Right. Anyway.
The judge will get him straightened out.
Yes. New York Jets, Jamison Crowder.
No.
He was a PPR monster last year, though.
Fine. Still no.
Wide receiver 56, though. Yeah, I'm out. Philadelphia.
I'm out on the Jets, period.
Deshaun Jackson. We already talked about this.
Yep. Great. Fine.
Pittsburgh Steelers, James Conner. ADP running back 29.
That's probably good value for that low as a running back.
100%. Yeah. He was banged up and he's a big old injury question mark, but 29 overall 87. I'm looking at where is that right now? 87. I'm looking in our draft here. That's in the 8th round.
Oh, that's really good value in that low.
Holy shit! Yeah,
I'll target him in the 8th round for sure.
Yeah, not a bad dude to have.
Wait, you have my 8th round pick. Maybe.
Yeah, I'll target him in the 8th round. So the Niners, they have Jalen Hurd here, wide receiver 85. Jalen Hurd is a guy too that is interesting, and at the back end of this draft, I think I'll be looking at him too. So he was a top pick last year, and now that wide receiver room has thinned a little bit, Emmanuel Sanders left, obviously leaving Deebo Samuel, Kendrick Bourne, and Jalen Hurd there. George Kittle, obviously. So it's a run-first team, so there's a lot of things to be wary about with that. But, again, I think you're especially this is a guy that you're not looking at drafting very early. It's a guy that you're for sure taking a flyer on, especially at this ADP, wide receiver 85, overall 212. It's like a double-digit round dude for sure. But, you never know. Somebody's got to step up. Somebody has to be the dude there.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure.
Okay. All right. Seattle, Rashad Penny. Absolutely not. I think this article is a little outdated. They obviously signed Carlos Hyde, so they must not think that Rashad Penny is all that healthy because they signed a dude. And obviously Chris Carson is banged up, so I mean the situation is dire enough there that they need to sign Carlos Hyde, and all things point me in the other direction there.
Yeah, I think you can go receiver here, tight end, quarterback, obviously, for the Seahawks, and you'll be fine. Running back, I don't like it. Don't like any of them.
Absolutely not. We got Tampa Bay. We got Ronald Jones.
Well, this is an interesting one. Ronald Jones, I think, in the short term, yes. Since he's going to be projected to be running back 1 here with Tom Brady for a short little bit here. After Peyton Barber was let go, but... yeah, I don't know, I guess at 38, running back number 38 on the board, that's not bad.
No.
For an offense that should be pretty productive.
Well, especially for a dude that currently has the starting job. Like, a lot of people think that Keyshawn Vaughn is going to usurp him, but as it stands right now, he is the starter. So, right, like you're saying, going off as the 38th running back from the board, overall 112, yeah, you're getting some value there. I mean... he going that late and getting a potential starting running back, I mean, especially in this game where running backs are far and few after you get out of that crop, having a dude who's starting, it's pretty valuable. Anyway, moving on to Tennessee, Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, I mean, looking QB 22.
Yeah, it all depends if it's 2019. Is that what it's going to be for moving forward for a little bit here? Or is that the high end anomaly? Was that the ceiling? Probably,
Right.
but how much further is he going to fall back to the floor? But again, it's value, quarterback 22, sure.
Well, okay, here's some of the dudes going over him. Drew Lock, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, Daniel Jones by a mile. Joe Burrow, well, that's a little different.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't get that one.
I think that's pretty much there. Justin Herbert is right below him.
Oh, yeah, give me Brian Tannehill or Herbert.
Absolutely. There's only a couple people below him. Teddy Bridgewater, Dwayne Haskins, Jameis Winston, Ben Roethlisberger, Derek Carr, Gardner Minshew. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, value. Washington, Kelvin Harmon.
Who the hell is this guy?
He was a dude drafted last year who kind of came on the scene and then he fell to the background after Washington's offense was just a shit show. Yeah. I don't know. Washington's offense as a whole, it's just one big. Yeah. Like, Terry McLaurin is like a very talented wide receiver that I'd like to target, but man, watching their offense last year, it was just like nails on a chalkboard. Like watching Dwayne Haskins run that offense inspired me absolutely not at all.
Right.
So, I don't know. Some of these dudes could be good for dynasty value, but it's really hard to look through an entire season of that and see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just
if I'm gonna go with
not a lot of people outside of Terry McLaurin.
Yeah, Antonio Ganey Golden, I think it'd be fine.
A lot of people are looking at Antonio Gibson, running back drafted, who he's the guy that was infamously comped to Christian McCaffrey, because he played a slot receiver role in college in addition to running back. So people think that once that running back room clears out, which very well might be in a year, because they have the likes of Darius Geis, Adrian Peterson, Bryce Love, and then now Antonio Gibson here. All three of those dudes in front of him could be gone in a year.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, I think we can end here. Hour 47. We'll get back to you with the results of this draft, whether or not this
trade goes through or not here.
Yeah. We'll catch you next time.
All right. See you. Bye.